Air travel has long been surrounded by a number of myths and misconceptions, often stemming from a lack of understanding about how airplanes work. These myths can range from misunderstandings about aviation history to how planes operate in the sky. Let's take a closer look at 5 common airplane myths and debunk them to reveal the truth behind modern aviation. Myth 3: Heavier planes fly faster. The idea that heavier planes do not necessarily fly faster comes from a misunderstanding of how weight, speed, and aerodynamics interact. While it might seem intuitive that a heavier plane should fly faster due to its momentum, the relationship between an aircraft's weight and its speed is more complex. Here's why heavier planes don't inherently fly faster. Lift versus weight. Lift: to stay aloft, an airplane must generate enough lift to counteract its weight. A heavier plane requires more lift to remain in the air, which means it typically needs a larger or more powerful wing design or a higher angle of attack to generate sufficient lift. Drag: as a heavier airplane increases lift by changing its angle of attack, it also creates more drag, air resistance, which slows it down. Therefore, to go faster, more thrust is required to overcome this additional drag. Thrust and drag. Thrust: an airplane's engine produces thrust, which propels it forward. To increase speed, an aircraft must produce more thrust than the drag forces working against it. For heavier planes, the drag is often higher because of their larger size or shape, so it takes more thrust to overcome the drag and maintain or increase speed. Drag increases with speed. As speed increases, drag increases exponentially, particularly in the transonic and supersonic aircrafts. Heavier planes, which typically have larger surface areas and bulkier shapes, experience more drag and require much more thrust to fly faster. Structural limits. Heavier planes are subject to more stress on their structures at high speeds. The airframe design places limits on how fast an airplane can safely fly without risking structural damage. Engine efficiency and fuel consumption. Heavier planes often require more powerful engines to lift off and maintain flight. These engines also consume more fuel. However, as the plane increases in weight, it becomes less fuel efficient at higher speeds because the engines must work much harder to counteract the increased drag. Aircraft type and design. Heavier planes, such as large commercial airliners or cargo planes, are typically designed for efficiency and stability over long distances, not speed. Lighter aircraft, especially fighter jets or supersonic planes, are designed with aerodynamics optimized for speed. Even though they are lighter, their thrust-to-weight ratio allows them to achieve much higher speeds than heavier planes. In short, heavier planes do not fly faster because they face more drag, require more lift, and their engines must work harder to overcome these forces. While heavier planes may have powerful engines, the need to balance weight, thrust, and drag means that they are generally designed for efficiency and stability, not necessarily speed. The fastest planes tend to be lighter and more aerodynamically streamlined, enabling them to achieve higher speeds with less drag. Myth 4: pilots can see through the clouds. Pilots cannot physically see through clouds while flying. Clouds obstruct visibility, and when an aircraft is flying through or above them, pilots rely on instruments and technology rather than visual sight to navigate. Here's how they manage. 1. Instrument Flight Rules, IFR. When flying through clouds or in poor visibility, pilots follow instrument flight rules. This means they rely on the airplane's instruments, such as altimeters, airspeed indicators, gyroscopic instruments, and navigation systems, to fly safely. Instrument flight rules allows pilots to navigate, communicate with air traffic control, and avoid obstacles or other aircraft even when they cannot see the ground or horizon. 2. Instruments and technology. GPS provides precise location and navigation data. Altimeter measures altitude and ensures the aircraft remains at a safe height above the terrain. Artificial horizon, attitude indicator, shows the orientation of the aircraft relative to the horizon, which is crucial for maintaining level flight when visibility is poor. Weather radar helps pilots detect weather patterns and turbulence within clouds, so they can avoid severe conditions. Traffic Collision Avoidance System, TCAS, alerts pilots to the presence of nearby aircraft, reducing the risk of mid-air collisions in low visibility conditions. 3. Air Traffic Control, ATC. ATC helps guide pilots through busy airspace or poor weather conditions. They provide instructions based on radar data and satellite systems, guiding planes to safe altitudes and routes during cloud cover or low visibility. 4. Cloud penetration in certain situations. Pilots may ascend or descend through clouds to reach clearer skies, but they rely on their instruments while within the cloud cover. Visual Flight Rules, VFR. Pilots can fly using visual references to the ground and landmarks when there is good weather and clear skies. However, under cloud cover, they must switch to IFR. Pilots cannot see through clouds with their eyes alone. Instead, they rely on sophisticated instruments, navigation systems, and guidance from air traffic control to safely fly through or around clouds.